Hello, everyone out there on the interwebs. My name is Jason, and it is my distinct pleasure to bring today's episode to you together with Patrick and Aaron. And you'll see another new face here. This is Captain Steve Bell with Silent Yachts. And folks, I have promised that I'm going to try and act 50 and not 15 during today's episode because I'll be honest, I'm fanboying quite a bit. This is a very big moment for me. I've always admired Silent Yachts. And so having Captain Steve here as he's crossing the Atlantic Ocean is just a thing of dreams for me. So I hope you'll enjoy today's episode. Let's jump to Aaron. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go to Patrick and start in with Steve.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. This is Aaron from Extraordinary Horizons. We're currently rebuilding, refitting, renovating our 65-foot custom one-off powered catamaran. Definitely Silent Yacht has been a huge inspiration for us as we move things forward. They're basically doing very similar stuff to what we want to do. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for sure.
And I'm Patrick with Sailing Electra, and we're living in Greece at the moment on our boat, but we've had to take a couple of months off for winter, but we'll be back soon. Our boat is a solar electric sailing catamaran, Sailing Electra. Over to you.
Thanks, guys. I'm Steve Bell. I'm the Vice Chairman at Silent Yachts, and I've been challenged with taking this across the Atlantic. So my third Atlantic crossing, but first with Silent Yachts, and I'm delighted to be able to show you live what we're doing and answer any of your questions.
Well, that is fantastic, and I want to be sure to start off, as we do every episode, with just a quick disclaimer, and that is, folks, we are DIY. We are sharing our passion projects with you. We are showcasing other people's projects, and in this case, products. And under no circumstances are we suggesting any kind of warranty or guarantee of any sort. This is us sharing with you. You proceed with your own caution. Now, with that said, let's dive in real quick, just straight into the video that was recently uploaded on the social media pages for Silent Yachts, where they showcased a momentous occasion where a new emerging technology was actually demonstrated while underway. So guys, let's dive into that. I'm going to open that up. Okay, Steve, I know that was short and sweet, very brief. We're going to dive into another one. As we get through this one, I'd love for you to break down from a captain's perspective what we've talked about, and actually had others who've done their own projects with this in previous episodes. And if you're watching the show, new to the show, go check those out. But I really want to hear your perspective on this. But let's take a look at this other clip that you guys shared with us, and then we'll dive in.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Are you an auto?
Then auto now. Hands off.
Very, very close to zero power consumption, and still 5.5, 5.6 knots.
I mean, how beautiful is that, folks? So
That's the dream.
that right there is epic. That is the dream. And before we dive in, I'm going to back up just a little bit to this screen, because we're going to break some of this down and let actually Captain Steve break that down quite a bit. I want to remind our viewers that if you toss out questions that pertain to today's episode as we're in the chat, we'll pause and throw your comments up there. And if they're pertinent to the conversation, we'll address it. Even maybe Captain Steve will address it. So we'll see how that goes. Very excited to have you engaged, though, in the comments, not just for sake of, chatting back to you, but also showcasing during the episode. So without any further ado, Captain Steve, talk to us a little bit about what we saw and what we're looking at here.
Okay, so we are a ground-up designed solar electric yacht designed to cruise using a power source from our batteries and using solar panels to generate energy into the batteries. The kite that you saw is a product it's new to me. It's the first time we've flown it on this trip, and it's effectively a downwind sail for sailors out there that will fly about 25-30 degrees either side of the wind. So at the moment, or on that video there, we had the wind directly behind us, and we had the kite up. So the kite, we were flying in 20 knots of true wind, 15 knots of apparent wind, and once the kite was launched, which I will come back to, it allowed us to take a huge amount of energy out of the electric motors and rely on the propulsion of the kite. So the kite works like it's a 10 square meter. You guys can convert that into that's about 100 and some square feet, and it's designed to figure of eight, like a wing, to create lift. And we can't. There was a question asked: can we run the yacht at zero without the propellers turning? Two reasons why we don't. One is that a stationary propeller causes drag, and we don't have enough water flow over the rudders to be able to steer the vessel. So we're running, I think in that video, it's running at like 250, 260 RPM, which is, anyone who's involved in yachting knows that's a very, very slow RPM. And we haven't had the chance to test it as much as we wanted to. At the moment, we're about 150 miles west of Cabo Verde, and the wind is starting to come behind us, so we'll get the kite up. But we've only flown it really for 5 or 6 hours. What it does do, it certainly improves it means that we can run silent we think we could run silent all day. But of course, during night, we're not getting any solar gain. And Patrick, you talked about what you've got, where you have your solar panel. We've got 16.8 kilowatt peak of solar on here, 42
Right.
panels. And the maximum we're seeing at the moment is about 60 kilowatt hours per day. And we don't control the weather. We just harvest what energy we can from it. So as we progress, in fact, I think they're untangling the kite now, which I'll come back to another presentation. And we will probably get the kite up this afternoon, and there'll be more videos on our website. So it's still very new. It does work. For anyone who's from a sailing background, it's like, can you imagine trying to fly 2 spinnakers at the same time and control it by some Bluetooth device? It's quite weird. So you'll have to stay tuned for a bit more information.
Yeah. So if we can jump back to that 60 kilowatt hours a day. Now, if you divide that by 24, we get 2.5 kilowatts. Do you know sort of what type of power levels your boat needs to do 4 knots, 5 knots, 6 knots?
So let's look at some numbers. So we have about 380 kilowatt hours of total battery capacity. It's split between high voltage and low voltage. And we have DC-DC chargers between the high voltage and low voltage. So call that 380 kilowatt hours with 16.8 kilowatt peak of solar. At 6 knots, we're using about 14 kilowatt hours per side. So now if we bring it back to 5 knots or 4 knots, we're half that, a fraction of that. And solar it's dark for 12 hours of the day, so we're obviously not going to have any solar. So if you pulled it back to about 3.5, 4 knots, you'd be very, very close to, without the kite, you'd be very close to break even. But to give you an idea, here we are with the waves behind us. At that speed, the waves are going faster than us, so they're crashing over the back of the deck. So it's a balance between comfort, and we're cruising now at probably about 5.5, 6 knots. Okay, so it's not. people think that this is. We've had a few questions on the internet. Oh, well, why can't you go across on solar alone? And on solar alone, I think I said we'd have to have about 600 solar panels towed behind us on a barge to be able to have power in the 10 or 12 hours of sunshine to charge the batteries to run it.
Yeah.
But consider what most people do with these yachts. They will, we cruised from Georgetown in the Bahamas to New Providence, 170 miles in 5 days, never ran the generator once. But on this, we have to run a generator. But it's sorry, Paul.
And I've seen a few boats in Greece as well. They never start the generator because the distances are so small. You're hopping from one anchorage to another.
Yeah, you look at the Ionian and the Cyclades and things. You might be doing 2 hours cruising a day, 3 hours maximum. In the BVI's on charter, you're doing an hour a day and then going to another mooring buoy and doing that. So it's this is a very different passage. This is to show our followers that these yachts, with the right planning and the right people, are more than capable of doing oceanic passages.
Well, that's one of the brilliant things that I love about what we have here in our spread of people, right? Like my wife and I, we're taking a 37-foot sailing vessel, mast off, solar only, doing the Great Loop. That's all intracoastal waterway, protected waterways. Ours is a very different journey. Patrick and Candace, his wife, they're in the Mediterranean. They're going between protected, ports of call and enjoying, small crossings, but they're not in the open Atlantic. And yet here you are, open Atlantic, running, from one side of the earth to the other. And then you still got Aaron with his 65-footer that's going to be hitting it out there in, the Caribbean and hopefully one day even further. And those are radically different purposes and journeys. And yet what I'm hearing you say is the sweet spot for you to go solar only is about 3 knots, give or take. And then I hear Patrick and see his is about 3 knots. I could go forever. Ours, about 3 to 4 knots. I could go forever as long as the sun's shining.
Yeah, for sure. But again, bear in mind that most people won't do this. I actually don't want to do 3 knots. I want to get to Antigua. I think.
Yeah. Don't want to be out in the middle of the ocean. Is that what I'm hearing you say? With waves crashing off the back?
You get used to it. It's quite interesting. You talk about a challenge of crossing the Atlantic, and the waves there's a swell. It's probably a 10-foot swell. The wind's blowing probably 16, 17 knots off our starboard beam. It's okay. It's comfortable. It's a catamaran, and everybody knows catamarans have, they have some, they've got great space, but they don't sail like a monohull. But it's fine. It's great.
And I love that because the Silent Yachts, it's just a catamaran. No, I have just a catamaran. You have a luxury, beautiful vessel that's stunning in all of its ways. I do want to dive in a little bit. We have some questions here if you guys are happy to kind of pivot. These are from our guests that are watching, and so I want to thank them for that. Here's one, and I think, honestly, this has already been addressed in the fact that you are currently underway. Do you want to address that a little deeper there, Captain Steve?
Yeah, so we went solar only at 3 knots. It's 2,100 miles from Cape Verde to Antigua, and from Gibraltar it's about 3,500 miles. At 3 knots, it's a long time. And that wasn't the real. Some people might have the time to do that, but we've just talked about what the sea conditions do at 3 knots when the waves are moving quicker. So yeah, you could do it. It would probably take you about 45 days. But we've got an ETA from here to Antigua probably on the 12th of December, 11th or 12th.
Nice.
So it's, and I think the conversation about if you want to do solar only, we're restricted by the amount of space we have to fit solar panels, and we've got 42 solar panels, so we've got 16.8 kilowatt peak. The 80-foot has 23 kilowatt peak. It's not really enough, but that's all we've got.
Yeah.
So people will always say there's more efficient solar panels, there's better ways of doing things, but we've got We've got a product that works, solar panels that work, that are interchangeable. We don't want to change it unless it's proven.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and if you guys haven't seen the episode of, actually, it was Captain Steve and Captain Boomies. That video, those two videos are fantastic. They're on their website, they're on their socials. Go watch those. They're really great, well done, beautifully produced, and they dive into. I think she actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Does she compare that speed to the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria?
I was like, boobies, come on.
I mean, it was perfect. I was like, okay, that's great. And then we have another one here that came in. This is from one of our regular viewers. This is a great question, and that is about the regen when the kite is pulling. I agree. I want to hear from you on this one, because please tell me more.
Okay, so bear in mind this, we've flown the kite for about 5 hours in total on this trip. And bear in mind, I also need forward RPM on the propellers to create water flow over the rudders. But in principle, the kite is pulling the yacht through the water. I wonder, and this is my brain going from a tech point of view, is whether we could engage the port motor forward at a certain speed and regenerate from starboard. So it's created a potential to generate more power. But we've got a lot of other things that we want to do, and we want to test the kite a bit more. So fantastic question. And in principle, yeah, great. My little brain is full and won't work it out in the next few days.
Patrick, I can tell you have some questions here as well.
I do, yeah. So again, this is a question probably coming from people who are used to diesel boats, where you either run the motors or you run the sails. But what you find when you're on electric yachts, if you've got a little bit of power turning those props, there's virtually no drag, and your bang for buck is better spent on putting a little bit of power into the motors and zooming ahead and letting the sun power the boat. So there's, in theory, it would work if your boat is going fast enough. You can regen, but in practice, you need so much wind for that to happen that you probably don't want to be doing that much of the time. You rather just sort of get the motors idling along and increase your speed by a couple of knots over just what the wind would do.
And that reminds me of your episodes there on Electra. You've done that. Like, you've kind of had the sails going and doing just slight little bit on the power in order to compound those benefits.
I almost never have my motors running with less than 200 watts. Now, 200 watts is nothing. I mean, that's 400 in total. That's one solar panel is providing that, but that gets you a huge amount of extra speed. That's quite something.
Hey, Captain Steve, I have a question. So earlier you gave us a little glimpse into why you're actually crossing the Atlantic in this Silent Yacht. Can you go into a little bit more detail of what's the challenge, what's behind the why of why you're doing this? I think people would really like to hear that.
Yeah, so this yacht is owned by one of the shareholders of Silent Yachts, and he told me to do it. That's not strictly correct. It's been a lifelong dream of him to buy a Silent Yacht. He's a shareholder in the company, and he asked me if I would take it across. We've got a really good crew on the yacht, with a full-time captain that is normally on the boat, who's a really good friend of mine, a very competent captain, but wasn't able to get insurance cover to do a transatlantic. And the oceans are a very unforgiving place for anyone who's crossed. And the yacht might be very capable, but unless you put the planning in place in the first place, you're going to have a struggle to get across safely. So we wanted to show our followers and our customers and potential customers that this is a yacht capable of oceanic cruising with the right planning.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Brilliant.
There's
a
really
comment
by on Sharrow, which I would love to answer.
Yes,
because we would love, and I hope they're listening, because I've been in contact with Sharrow for over a year to go. They've made a really bold statement of what they can do, and we'd love them to do that. But
oh my,
yeah,
are we having a moment right here, right now? We're calling out Sharrow.
I love what they do. I just want them to contact us.
Okay, this reminds me, Captain Steve, so much. We've had a previous episode where our own Patrick Mackay goes on record saying that if Bali Boats wants to just give him room and board, he will help them get, honestly, your competition built for them. I'm just saying it's out there. It's you guys better hire him before they do.
Absolutely. So we've got 24 of these yachts floating around the world, with about 8 or 9 going in the water every year. Maybe 12 next year if things go well. And we would put, if Sharrow do what they say they can do, which I think is great. I understand the tech. That's fantastic. I just think they've got a lot on their plate. And I know the guys very well, but if they are listening, please just send me a response to my email.
Oh, I love it. There it is. Bring it on. We're going to be looking for that email. I'm just, I don't know, focused enough that I won't let go of that. I'll want to see it.
So just imagine, let's say they can do a 10% improvement in efficiency, or
Brilliant.
even a 5%. It's massive.
Massive.
It's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
So, fantastic question. Thank you. I'm glad
Patrick,
to
go
I've
ahead.
got a couple of spare props floating around. I'll fit them on my boat as well. I'd like to see what they do on a little boat.
I feel like I'd be remiss to not say I want in on this too, guys. Okay, so
it is an interesting design. I mean, you've never seen a propeller design like that. So, but yeah, the claims are big. So let's see.
All right, Cheryl, you've heard it here. Bring it on. We're ready for you to put your money where your mouth is. Now, let's look at this one. Another question, or more of a comment, really, about wind turbines. And I know we've had episodes focused on this very question, and we go back and forth about it. I would love to hear Captain Steve's perspective.
Yep, for sure.
I don't know enough about it, but I have. I know from my family with the sailing yachts that they had a little wind turbine charging the 24-volt system. So there's a noise issue and there's an efficiency issue, and also aesthetics in terms of great big propellers. And I know there's different types, and I think that we will stick with our conventional solar whilst trying to look for more efficient solar in the future and not go down the wind turbine route. I remember passing Richard Branson's island in the British Virgin Islands in Necker Island, and he's put a load of wind turbines on, and it's just ruined the landscape. It's great it's fantastic for saving fossil fuels, but I found it a bit strange.
Yeah.
And I think we would get enough power off a wind turbine on the yacht, but I'd love someone to prove me wrong, so feel free to comment.
Just curious, do you have any folks who've bought Silent Yachts who have retrofitted theirs with that, or is that a hard no?
It's a card no. It's that you wouldn't. The system is so complicated the way it works. So it's all controlled by high voltage and computer controlled, and you would very likely invalidate a warranty and mess it up.
Yeah, very good, fellas. Any other comments on the wind turbine idea?
Yeah, so
I mean, you get a lot of shading from a wind turbine on your boat. I think you'd probably lose more than you gain.
yeah, I feel the same. I mean, there's a lot of talk about it, and there's another buddy of mine that is about to put a couple of them on and test them, and I'm anxious to see what happens, because I had this same conversation with Patrick last week, I think, in text, and I know quite a few people that have them, but they're not, they're not really effective.
Yeah, and Jay's right that the Archimedes are a corkscrew and low noise. I get that, and that is certainly better than the tip speed on a conventional propeller.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also got a program in terms of efficiencies, in terms of how we make our yachts better for our customers, more user friendly. And that's our roadmap for the next sort of 6, 12, 18 months. And the wind turbine isn't on that roadmap at the moment, but it doesn't mean that it won't be in the future.
Yeah, you're always open to conversation about things that are going to make it more efficient, for sure.
Yeah, you never stop learning. You never ever stop learning.
Well, let's wrap up our little segment here with the questions from commenters. I mean, we'll come back to them, but just as a segue, Last little one from out there. What are each of your professional plans with all of this? I think we're talking about solar yachting in general, if any, versus personal. And then anyone hoping to captain a charter, flip vessels, make parts, etc. Well, I think Captain Steve is definitely planning to captain and is probably continuing to do so. I'll just speak to mine. It's a personal thing. I mean, if one day my personal grew into something where, hey, I might want to do a charter type thing way afterwards. Maybe, but I don't know. That's too far away. Right now, my wife and I are looking to kind of have a drastic change from Kansas City, landlocked in North America. We need a big change, and we're going to go do a big change. And so our great loop is very deeply rooted in our personal experience. But I've always had a passion for solar electric as a brilliant idea. The sun shines, you get electricity, do cool things with it. I love that. And so for me, that's that. What about you fellas?
Yeah, so mine, I'm a business person, through and through at heart. As much as I want to say mine is personal, I think at some point it may become about business for some sort. Mine is retirement. For my wife, she wants to go get her captain's license. Me, not so much. She wants to do something with some kind of maybe small fishing charters off the back of the boat. There's a big back fishing deck that we can fish off of. Um, I can tell you that networking and learning from a lot of the guys like Steve and a lot of the other guys that we've had on the show is definitely inspirational and enlightening to me, and it's broadening my horizons, quote unquote, as to what's possible out there. There is a lot of space in this niche, in this market, for innovation and new things. It seems like there is I applaud Steve for what he's doing, because the boating, sailing market, yachting market, they seem a little bit stuck, and they seem a little bit stubborn, and they're stuck in the past and somewhat resistant for new innovations. So somebody like Steve that says, "I'm here, I'm a bull, we're going to push this thing forward. Look what my yacht can do. I'm crossing the Atlantic with hybrid solar electric diesel generation." To me, that's amazing. Like, so that's our plans in a nutshell.
Yeah, and mine is also, it's just, I wanted to live in a boat. And so, yeah, I live in a boat. And the reason the boat is electric is not because I wanted to prove a point or anything like that. I want an electric boat because it's better than a diesel boat. I'm faster than other sailboats because I motor sail when nobody else wants to motor sail in these sort of iffy winds. And my maintenance in 3 years, I've replaced one of zinc. And that's it. It's quiet. I've never had to plug in. I've never had to plug in. I don't think it's not a compromise you're making, it's an improvement. Yeah. Anyway, although I am out of work from next year, so who knows? Maybe I'll I'll see what I can do there.
I have a feeling Silent Yachts is going to gobble you up before Bali takes you. I'm just saying.
Uh,
Yeah, you're
Captain
not
Steve, what about
you're not
you?
yeah, that's interesting. So I come from a history of sailing, really, and my family sailed. I windsurfed at a reasonable level, and I started teaching motor in Palma de Mallorca, teaching people who would buy a 60, 70-foot motor yacht. They have no clue how to drive them. And then I got involved with Silent Yachts. And it's really weird. It's somewhere between sailing and motor. And we fit a market where our clients don't want to sail. They don't want to put the sails up. They want to click forward and move. And it's you guys know because of what you do, but it's a very, very niche market, and we are a very, very unique product in the marketplace.
for sure.
Ground up solar electric.
Inspiring.
And yeah, there's anybody who's tried to do it knows the challenges you face with EMF, etc., and some of the issues. And we've got a big team making our yachts better and better and better. And I love what we do. It's not so much about the efficiencies but it's making the lives of our owners and operators more comfortable and easier.
Brilliant.
And to go across the Atlantic just shows the capability.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect segue into the next little round of conversation here. And that's where we're going to look at y'all's website. And this is the Silent Yachts. It's actually silentatlantic.com. And Aaron kind of perfectly set this one up on a tee by bringing out the purpose, the why. And guys, if you haven't checked out this website, oh my goodness, it's every leg of the journey. It's showing every reason why they're doing it. It breaks down the tech, it breaks down all the cool things they're showing, like the sail kite. And so, one of the things that I love here, I mean, obviously, look at that beautiful boat. I love it. I want it. I can't afford it, but I can admire it, and it's beautiful. And then we have that statement that just really strikes me, and I love this, is transparency is also a key part of this project. What Captain Steve and his crew are doing is to provide transparency with the data, with how much they're actually generating, with how much they're using fuel. And they're not trying to hide stuff or pretend. They're showing, hey, here's the real trip, and here's right there in black and white on our website. Check it out. In fact, here are all their socials. We've got them in the description of this episode as well. Please give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment, all the things, not just for us, the normal folks, but also their account, and track this journey because it's compelling and it's worthwhile. Captain Steve, anything you want to say about this, the vision part of it, the purpose part?
Yeah, the transparency is really important to me. That, we're the only company who produce a solar electric product yacht, where we will openly share the solar gain. And on the website, I think I'm a bit behind this morning, so the position isn't updated in yesterday's solar gain. But there'll be more and more data being put forward, and there's many people in this world that will say. I think I was at Flib's Fort Lauderdale a few weeks ago, and a guy said, "Oh, we've got a yacht that will do 7 knots forever." I was like, "Okay." And it's what we want to do is make sure our customers fully understand what our vessels will do and what they're capable of, and to create a reputation that we can be trusted, and that's the transparency goal.
Yeah.
Love
I mean,
that.
I really like this because there's so many haters, naysayers, doubters that say that it can't be done. And right now you're out there showing it can be done. And not only are you showing it can be done, but you're showing data. And I'm a technical guy, and I know Jason and Patrick are technical guys as well. And like, you can't deny the data, right? The data is there. You're putting up the data for the world to see. And that's a really good thing for sure.
That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
anybody who's done any form of long distance yachting knows that things break, and things go wrong on a yacht. And anybody who says their yachts don't break knows that it's wrong. We had a guy doing a delivery on a yacht behind us, brand new yacht, and he messaged me on WhatsApp this morning and said, "I've lost my autopilot. I've got a hand steer for another 2,100 miles." I was like, I think I had to turn around and gone back.
I'm out.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done. But things go wrong. We had a fuel filter problem on the generator, but we just changed the filter, the SEPA filter, and problem solved. We had a bilge pump going. We test the bilge pump regularly. We had a problem with the bilge pump. So what? We'll blow something on the drivetrain at some stage. We know how to mend it. It's just what happens. And go into yachting knowing that it's a piece of GRP sat on the water, salt water, and things go wrong. But be open about it and tell people. It's part of the experience of yachting.
How sad is it that is commendable and notable? Like, that should just be the norm. But I do want to say it is commendable and it is notable that you all are doing that. One of the things that Captain Steve brought up was tracking along their itinerary. Look at this. Like, you can see every stop along the way that they've made. He just said he hasn't updated the most recent one, but if you zoom in on this part of the map and then get started right here where they began their journey over here in Gibraltar and click on these, it actually will kind of break out and show you images and show you some of the details about that. And so it's really cool. I've been loving it. And all this episode started because, and it was probably just one of the emails to all the subscribers, but Captain Steve's message came out and said, "Are you tracking with our journey?" And I'm like, yeah, like every single second I can, give me more. And then that turned into a back and forth that I went, no way, dream come true. And so you all are not here currently,
No,
right? You've moved
we're
on from here.
about 100 and about 150, 160 miles west, due west 270. So we got a heading of about 280 at the moment.
And then you guys are headed to Antigua, which is
Yeah.
right around in here.
Yeah.
And so right around in there. So tell me, how many days left you think you have?
I'll tell you exactly on my system now. We have got, so we're still doing an average of 6.1 knots, and we have got 11. Well, it's changing somewhere between 11 and 14 days.
Wow.
Being honest, I think we will, everybody in 10, 12 days time will want to be getting ashore. And I think the owners will want to burn a bit more fuel and go a bit faster. Because that's what happens. Anyone who's done a delivery knows that you start off doing like 10 knots, and then at the end you're like just let's do 20 knots.
So you made a valid point there, Steve. So that it's nice to have the luxury to be able to speed it up a little bit, right, without having to worry about running out of battery. So if you want to go a little bit faster, you can go a little bit faster, but it's detrimental to the charge of the battery,
to the fuel burn. So we've got 2,700 liters of fuel. So what's that for? 500 US gallons approximately, and we won't need it all unless the owners go, we want to get to the bar in Antigua a bit quicker.
So how many liters, how many gallons of fuel have you burned thus far?
Probably about 900, I would think, in total.
900 liters?
There's not. I'll put it up on the website later on today with all the data. But we did pretty well. We've still got wind behind us. We're probably getting a knot from the wind and the northern equatorial currents. So we're seeing a difference of about between 0.8 and 1.2 knots on speed through the water and speed over the ground.
What's the generator? The generator set in there. What's the gallon per hour burn?
So it's a 130 kilowatt V6 Hyundai generator. We don't run it at 130 because mechanically I want to give it some sympathy. So we can preset the output of the generator. So unlike your 20 kilowatt Kohler Onan where it just runs at 20 kilowatts, this we can set it through the software, and we run it at 90 kilowatts, and we're using about 22 liters an hour. So we can run about 10 hours silent, 3 hours with a generator. Depending on solar, depends what we get from solar. The sun's out today. So, and that's an important point, that we don't control the sun. All we do is collect the data and show what it does and use it.
Yeah, you adapt.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's brilliant. And earlier, you had kind of turned your device and allowed us to see what you're seeing. You mind doing that for our viewers? I think they would love to see.
So we've got our kite post there.
Oh my God. I feel like that's just amazing. Look at that, folks.
So that is, we might actually get the kite up later on this afternoon. I think they're still untangling it. So going back to the kite, which is quite interesting, there's a few comments where people have said, can you not put a bigger kite up? And I'm going, guys, try and launch a 10 square meter kite off this. When you've got so it's downwind, I've got this big superstructure freeboard that's giving me a wind break, and I'm trying to launch a kite. And we know how to do it now. And I think once you've had a few tries doing it, it's quite easy. But you can't launch it downwind. You have to turn the yacht so we can get clean air on either the port or the starboard side. So and then once it's up above the level of the yacht in clean, non-turbulent air, it flies really well.
That's fantastic.
And it's got a Bluetooth controller that comes back to that's fitted in the leading edge of the kite that connects, might be Zigbee or Bluetooth, I'm not sure, but and connects to the controller, and then does from the zenith point, we'll do a figure of 8 to get airflow over the wing to create lift.
Hey guys, that's what Ferdinand was talking about, the little Bluetooth controller.
Yeah.
to put it on autopilot. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the question, we've got 2 lines out the back, but all we seem to catch is mahi because they seem to be they eat, but we've had a few mahi. We'd quite like some tuna, but we haven't got any yet.
Captain Steve, I'm just going to say, I think you're flexing with that statement a little, because the boy over here stuck in Kansas City, you just said, oh, yeah, we're just getting fresh caught mahi off the back. I'm like, oh, my God. I'll take that every single day.
They're interesting fish, aren't they? Because they just keep eating and eating and eating. And I look at this, yesterday we caught one. It was probably only just 18 inches long. And it had gone for a bait that was probably 8 inches long. So it's very brave to think I can eat that. But yes, we are fishing, and we will continue to fish. And it's part of it. Think about that. We're on the shop for another 12, 13 days doing the same thing, and you start to chill, relax, go through a route, watch a few movies. I think the rugby's on. I think Wales are playing South Africa this afternoon, so we've got Starlink and every receivable extra. So you settle into a sort of voyage of actually starting to relax a little bit, and something break up to mend it. But that's what we do.
That's brilliant. Along those lines, here's another comment out there. We hear outlandish stories of boats being sunk by Orca attack out there, and I know some of those are a little bit drummed up. Have you all had to fend off your beautiful 100% vessel from those killer whales?
If you'd asked me 2 days ago, I would have said, not really sure I've had any experience of really understanding the orcas. We were sat yesterday waiting to stamp in Cape Verde at the police station. Into a guy, so he got silent shirt on. He was on a Fontaine Pagio. He had his from leaving. I guess they're based in La Rochelle. I'm not sure, in France. And he was taking a Fontaine Pagio across the Atlantic.
It's kind of cutting up on us a little bit. As you can see, he's got cloud coverage out there, and it could be a little bit of the conditions, but we hope that Captain Steve's audio comes back for us pretty soon. I'll bring us over to this other question. Maybe some of our co-hosts here can address this one. Jay, who's been commenting a lot. Love it, Jay. Keep it up. If you were sailing east from the U.S. out of the St. Lawrence Seaway toward Europe, what time of year and which route would you consider? Wow. So I'm hoping that we get Captain Steve back with a stable connection, because, he's done these things. I will have no information to offer that question.
I think Steve's back. No, we can't hear you.
Recap. Okay. Let me leave and come back.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
While he's doing that, Aaron, I know you've grown up in Florida. Like, the water is not a thing that's unfamiliar to you.
Yeah.
Do you either know from firsthand experience, or do you know people who have taken this route that Jay's referring to?
No, I can't say I do.
Mm-hmm. So, Jay, we will definitely bring that back up when Captain Steve is able to. I think he said he was going to dip out and come back.
Yeah.
Sometimes that'll help things quite a bit. I do want to just kind of process a little bit about what we've heard so far as we're working on that technical side on his end. And that is, this sail kite thing is cutting edge. Like, it's bleeding edge, to use Patrick's, phrase, and that difference there between
Here's the
cutting edge,
bleeding
cool, bleeding edge. Well, that's maybe a little bit more than I want to be at. Like, he's talking about tangled lines all the time they put it up there, and how difficult it is to maneuver the boat to get it just right in order for it to launch well. What are your guys' thoughts about that?
So I was gonna be a smart ass and tell Steve that maybe it'd be a good idea that he clipped in before he launched the kite, so the kite doesn't take him up with it. But yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. Like, it is bleeding edge. And we had Ferdinand on the show, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And
Excellent episode. I know I'm tooting our own horn here, but go watch that episode, because Ferdinand was awesome.
It was the same opinion from him. It's bleeding edge. Like, it's still, everyone's learning. Like, we're here with Steve. They're running it clear across the Atlantic, and they're testing, right? They're testing. It's always learning, testing, and experimenting, and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And the good thing about what Steve is doing is he's posting all the data, so we're able to learn from what he's doing, for sure. But he's back. Let's see if he's good now.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened there. I'm going to blame Elon Musk and Starlink.
Oh, that's an easy target. Just blame those guys.
I think somebody put the rugby on. It started a few minutes ago, so that took your bandwidth.
I just wanted to recap the Orca issue, which nobody really may not have heard. But so I've never experienced it. I've heard about it, like we all have, on social media and on the various websites. The guy in Cape Verde, who was bringing a Fontaine Pagio across, he had his rudder taken out twice on the way down.
Wow.
So that's a guy. And he said it happened so fast. He didn't. Once at night, 20 seconds, he'd lost his rudder.
Oh,
they went in to fix it. 3 days later, took another taken out again. So that's the first time ever I've had a real interaction with someone who's lost rudders. But we didn't see anything.
Wow. I mean, that's just a terrifying concept, right? Like, it's a real thing. Now, it's kind of like, okay, you don't want to diminish it, but then you don't want to overblow it either. And so where do you land on that? Because you have experience out there.
There's always things you can hit in the ocean. There's always things that are going to bite you. And, I sit and do deliveries through the night, where you look at radar, no point looking at the chart, it doesn't tell you anything. And, we've got things like forward-looking infrared, the CAI things. But I guess you just got to trust that one day you might be unlucky and be prepared to deal with the consequences quickly.
Yeah. I mean, you face the same stuff on land. Something's going to blow out your tire while you're on the highway, or something. Accidents happen left and right, I mean, risk is inherently involved with life.
Yeah.
Patrick, looks like you wanted to throw something in there.
Well, I mean, Steve was talking about things do break on boats, but I think what you try and do is build in as much redundancy as you can. So, for instance, if you had to lose your generator, Steve, you're fine, because your solar panels will still charge the boat as you'll still be going.
I've got a second generator as well.
I didn't know you had a second generator.
Silent Yachts just goes, we've got two.
Let's talk a little bit about redundancy and what we've done on this vessel. So we have one 130 kilowatt generator. We have another smaller 20 kilowatt generator that charges through the shore power, not the high voltage, just in case you lose the high voltage charging as well. I've got to switch any part high voltage system off if I have a problem with it, like for example, say I had a stern thruster live brain, it takes out the high voltage. I can isolate it. I've got battery redundancy, that I've got two banks of high voltage. So if I lose a bank, I've still got the high voltage, but only half the capacity, but it still works. And in the worst case scenario, if I lose my batteries completely, I have a way through our technicians of giving a code to the owner to drive the yacht directly from the generator.
I was actually going to ask if that was possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your generator is a DC generator, then it will actually provide DC power to the motors.
800 volt DC on a high voltage system.
Wow, impressive. Okay. Yeah, so I
So
mean, it's all those levels of redundancy that make you feel a little bit more comfortable going 3,000 miles across an ocean.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
coming.
I'm not too concerned.
I love Buffalo Man calling me out a little bit here. He's like blowing a tire, different. It's different. And you're like, okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Trying to make connections here.
You know what? I think I'd rather fix a problem on a boat than deal with the blowout at 70 mile an hour on a freeway. But anyway, that it depends
Yeah.
what you do, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
you make a decision in life. You either wrap yourself in cotton wool and don't take any risk, or just get on with it and enjoy yourself.
Correct.
Wow.
But then
Love it.
again, I mean, the type of stuff you're doing now, you're crossing an ocean, nobody really does that. It's like a fraction of the sailors that actually go across oceans. Most of them are going through different anchorages. Do you have stats from the guys that charter your boats and that, how much diesel they use compared to sort of a comparatively sized charter cat and for liverboards and that as well?
They basically don't take any. They don't fill up their diesel when they're using it in the med. They literally will.
Yeah.
I mean, this tanks are 2,000 liters. We got 700 liters additional on board just from a safety factor, and there's an option to have like 3,000 liters as a standard product anyway. And I think it's more to the truck thing of keeping your diesel clean and bug free, because you're not using it. We don't get that much feedback, but bear in mind that if I'm sat on the solar and I'm pumping in 8 kilowatt hours of solar, even with my aircon on full, I'm not using 8 kilowatt hours of hotel. So at anchor, I'm charging the batteries.
Yeah, which is pretty much what everyone does. On Anchorage, we live like we're living in a house. You can run the dishwasher, the water heaters, whatever you like. Yeah.
So let's transition
And
this
that's what's really
question
nice.
from Jay. When we had the tech difficulties, we were kind of trying to get to this and then had to cut out. So none of us here really feel comfortable speaking to this. I think, Captain Steve, you're the only one who could address this one. So what would you say to Jay here if you were sailing east from the U.S. out of the St. Lawrence Seaway toward Europe? What time of year and which route would you consider?
So I've only ever done from east to west. This is my third time. And it's a southerly route that takes you from the Canaries. You don't always have to go as far south as Cape Verde and then pick up the northern equatorial currents. The other route, the northern route, the way back east, is effectively Bermuda, Azores, and then across to wherever you're going. And I could get my oceanic charts out and tell you exactly the time of year to do it, but I would imagine it's probably a summer route, but because of winter in the northern route would be probably pretty horrible. But you'd have to check on the best time. Someone will know.
And I'm sure someone on the internet will post that. Hopefully, put it in the comments, folks. We'd love to hear from those of you who know. What I don't want to hear from are people who are just conjecture or tossing something out there. Let's not muddy the water, shall we?
The route is Bermuda, Azores, and then if you're going into the Med, Gibraltar, on the northerly route from west to east.
Perfect. I am glad that you were here to speak to that, because I would not have known how to answer that question. So thank you. Now, when we look at the topic of house loads, which you started to address a little bit there, as I'm watching your videos, and I know it was so funny because Captain Boomies brought it up and then proceeded to get roasted by what Aaron calls the keyboard warriors, who like to go off. And I'm like, okay, wow, like calm down. So she says that you guys were using 2 kilowatts. And then they went off and said, no, it's kilowatt hours. And I'm going, I just want to hear from you. What's the house load data looking like on average?
So, Aaron, you're right. But then everyone's entitled to an opinion on and to say what they want in comments, etc.
Of course.
So the kilowatt is a moment in time amount of power. Okay. And if I run this yacht with the air conditioning on for 1 hour, it will use about 8 kilowatts, and we call that 8 kilowatt hours. Okay, so
Got it.
And I generally, for simplicity, use 8 kilowatts per hour, and even I've been roasted for that. No, it's 8 kilowatt hours. I'm going, guys, it's the same thing. I'm trying to make sure everybody understands it.
I love it. It's like, let's just find a reason to be mad. And that's fine. You addressed it well. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But with the 100% specific, like your boat that you're on, what are you guys averaging overnight, like or 24-hour period? What are you guys looking at for your house loads?
2 kilowatt hours, 2 kilowatts per hour
Yeah.
without without the aircon. Okay, and we had a discussion last night that Will, who you might have just seen get out, and he's in the forepeak in the crew cabin, and you can't open the windows at the moment because the sea's too big.
Oh,
And so we put an aircon chiller on at night, and I did a watch this morning from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and we were using 4 kilowatt hours with the AC on. So I had the AC on in my bedroom, and Will definitely had it on in his crew cabin.
oh,
So,
Will getting thrown under the bus a little bit. He likes it cool, does he?
but it's bad enough in the forepeak when the yacht's banging up and down in a 3 meter
Yeah.
swell. You might as well give him some comfort and make it cool for him with the aircon.
Let's just keep it cool.
So if you without aircon, this yacht runs between 1.5 and 2.5 kilowatt hours for the hotel load, which is the fridges, the water heaters, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And the aircon is definitely the biggest use of energy outside of the hotel load.
Well, and let's not mince words. Like, that is a luxury yacht. You have full size, American size fridges, plural. And I mean, you've got all the accoutrements that would come with a luxury yacht that you can imagine. So it's going to be using power. But interesting to hear that that's the number. Patrick, what are your thoughts on that compared to our more, modest sized boats? Is it just astronomical? I mean, I know we're comparing apples and figs here, but
Yeah.
No, it's actually not that bad. It's actually lower than I was expecting because I use 2 kilowatt hours a day when I'm running my Starlink and my fridge and cooking on electric. So it's not a monstrous number, but he's just got the panels to sort of back it up.
so that's
Yeah,
being offset then.
the other thing to consider there, think about the power consumption. We've got the 800 volt converting to 220 or 110 volts or both. We've also got
Yeah.
DC, so we've got the 800 volt charging the 24 volt system with the DC, which uses some power as well, but it's not on all the time. Okay. So it's in reality, and I'll post the data, if you consider that we're using about 360 kilowatt hours, 380 kilowatt hours in a 24-hour period. We're putting 50 in of solar, and the rest of it is being consumed by the motors, the DC, and the hotel load, and the generator for 2 or 3 hours a day at 90 kilowatts tops it back up. So that's the simple big maths.
Hey, Steve. So I have a question while we're on this topic. So, what are your plans? Like, obviously, crossing the Atlantic is a big lesson, right? It's learning, right? So you're learning what the boat does. You're learning a lot of different things. So, what's coming on the horizon as far as more making the boat more, because there's always room for improvement, right? Making the boat even more efficient than it is now. What do you have any plans from what you're seeing? What would be good things to do to make the boat even more efficient than it is now?
There's not so much you can do about efficiencies at the moment. There will be a solid state option as available at some point in the future, but we use one of the questions I've just seen pop up. I mean, we won't disclose everything, but we use MG batteries, which are a Dutch company. I know the guys very, very well. And when they tell us it's ready to use solid state, then we'll start. But then that's a 2-year approval process for TUV, for German approval. So it's not something that will happen overnight. One of the big things that we're doing on the yachts is creating an online maintenance schedule so that the system pops up with the maintenance that's required on the yacht for the captain or the owner to do at any given point in time, and allows them to tick it off, add photographs and upload, creating a full service history for the yacht. And making sure, for example, like the saltwater heat exchangers, we have to change the anodes every 3 months. and making sure they've gone through those processes to make the lives of our captains and owners easier and
Yeah, that,
increase
that
the present value of the yachts.
yeah, that makes a good point, because you have a database that you're collecting, and you're able to learn from the data that you're collecting too, as an owner of the manufacturer. Yeah, cool, awesome.
Well, we had a parting comment here on that previous topic from Jay, and I missed that, so I'm going to toss that back up there. You wouldn't try to go near Iceland.
Far too cold.
What I just heard was hell no.
No chance. I would go south.
I love it. Keep warm. Well, this
Yeah.
has been a delightful conversation, and we're reaching that hour point where what we always like to do here on Solar Sailing, and for those of you who've watched us because of the amazing generosity of Silent Yachts, and we welcome you in. We hope you'll check out some of our past episodes and even stick around for our future ones. We try and bring content that's meaningful for you in the projects you're doing as you're seeking similar adventures. But one of the things we like to do is reflect on our why, like our big purpose, our big driving passion behind what we do. And I've shared a little bit about ours because we've had a pretty big life traumatic experience that's moving us to make some changes. And you think about the Jimmy Buffett songs, different latitudes, different attitudes, and making some geographical changes in the near future for us, I think will be very welcome. And then throw that in with a passion for the water that I've always had, and brilliant concept of turning the sun into energy that you can do cool things with. That's kind of our why. Gentlemen, let's let Steve had the final why, but dive into your own whys.
Yeah, my why is that I want to retire at some point. Worked really hard for a really long time, and now want to have continue the fruits of the labors. Yeah, I mean, this whole conversation with Steve solidifies it's possible, right? Because you always have, I don't care where you are, you're always going to have the little voice that says, is it really, can we really do this? Is it really possible? No matter how strong your mindset is, that little booger always gets in there and says, can I really do it? So when you surround yourself around a lot of people that are doing what you're looking to do, and they keep pounding it in your head, yes, it's possible, I'm doing it, it's possible, and then you have these other guys out here that are the keyboard warriors, as Jason so kindly put it. It is possible. So I want to, my love for the water, I grew up in Miami, born and raised in Miami, around all the water, fishing as a young child, had a boat growing up. Always been around the water, always had boats, always, love fishing, and combining all that stuff with, relaxing a bit. As Steve said, it's a boat, and there's stuff always breaking, even if you're on a $5 million boat, stuff's breaking. But yeah, that's my why. I'm super excited to get out there and implement my why. Yeah.
It's funny. I was actually going to say the same sort of thing. Everyone tells you it can't be done, and you can say that in theory it works. In theory, you can cross an ocean on an electric boat, but until you do it, nobody really believes you. But I have a quick question. If your shareholder decided he wanted to know if the boat could actually cross the Pacific, and he wanted you to try and figure that out, would you pick that one up, Steve?
In hiding.
I go back to this why, because I love what we do. I love what this product. I'm so passionate about how we've made it so proven. And this trip across the Atlantic is just for that reason, for exactly what Aaron says, just to show people you can. I've already been asked to take, customer who's got an 80 on order has asked me to take it across the Atlantic. So I will never say never. And I don't know. We've got a lot of work to do at Silent Yachts to stay ahead of where we are, and to stay focused on making our yachts better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'll never say never.
Yeah,
if
but
you need a crew for an 80-foot crossing, just shout.
Yeah, we got 3 crew members for you right here.
Yeah. I mean, like Steve makes a valid point. It's quite difficult, I guess, or challenging to run a company, and as innovative as you are from the middle of the Atlantic all the time, right? I mean, you can't be doing this all the time, obviously.
We've got a good team. My joint CEO is a fantastic guy, and very, very, very switched on in shipbuilding. And my Italian's rubbish, so I just do the tech and the global sales and talk to Americans.
I love it. All right, Captain, what is your why behind all this? Like all of this?
This is what I want to do. This is what I want to show, that these yachts are very capable at doing oceanic passages, and it's not going to be. I don't think it'll ever get to the stage where it'll be all done on solar. Not in our lifetime, but this will be the most efficient crossing of a 60-foot power-driven vessel across the Atlantic ever, and that's why.
That's so brilliant. Well, folks, I really appreciate your time and your attention, all your comments. Please do like, subscribe, follow all the things on all the places. Um, we will be coming to you next week with another episode, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. We're going to keep that under wraps for now. Be looking for the posts on that. But one thing I'm going to keep doing, and I hope you do as well, is get on that website, silentatlantic.com, and track this journey because they're sharing all the information. It's such an inspiration. I know my wife and I, 2 teachers, we're unlikely to ever, barring some miraculous hitting of the lottery or something, be able to achieve acquiring a vessel of this magnitude. That doesn't mean that you can't do it. Maybe you guys are going to pool your money. I can already see Aaron and Patrick behind the scenes going like, let's cut Waltz out. We don't want him in here, and just have fun with it. If you can get it, don't be ashamed of that. Go get your boat. Have a good time. And what a cool boat to have. It's beautiful. Their website includes interior walkthrough. It goes through all the systems, goes through all the stuff. It's comprehensive, really. And so go dive in, go take a look at it, go celebrate it. You don't have to be able to afford it to go celebrate it. Tell your friends about it, admire it, scream about it, because you know what? There's enough of the keyboard warriors out there being negative. That's counter that with some positivity. Why don't you? I know I'm going to do that. And, no harm, no foul. Water off the duck's back. We also wrap up with our final thoughts. And so this will be our last bit before we say good day to everyone. My final thoughts, and then we'll just go round robin like we've done, are, oh my goodness, this really is a time in history where we can see the unthinkable unfolding before our eyes. It was not that long ago, not even childhood for me, where the idea of the sun shines, a little bit of fuel, a little bit of wind, and we can navigate an ocean on a floating mansion. I mean, that is brilliant that we live in a time frame where that's a thing. Let that sink in. And my final thoughts on that are, what are you imagining or dreaming of that the people who built Silent Yachts were once upon a time thinking and dreaming of this? What are you thinking and dreaming of that if you just set your hand to it and started putting one foot in front of the other, maybe you're going to bring about that thing? I don't even know what that thing is. I'm excited to find out. Stop waiting. Stop doubting and start surrounding yourself, like Aaron said, with people who go, yeah, you can do this, and do it. So there's my final thoughts.
Yeah, so this has been truly inspirational to me. It's going to be hard to top Jason. The phrase that I like: "We only live once." We only live once. Steve's crossing the ocean right now on a hybrid yacht. So to me, that's inspirational. That's my dream. I want to do something like that. And again, you're not going to do that surrounding yourself with negative Nellies, because that a lot of that gets in your head, and then you're going to be a negative Nelly just like the rest of them. So I mean, keep dreaming, keep pushing, work hard. That's why we named our boat Extraordinary Horizons, because if you believe it and dream it, you can definitely do it. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think I've said this before a few times that sailing is going to go the way of horse riding, where it's going to be something people do because they love to do it, but it's going to be an expensive hobby. And if you want to live on a boat and have all the creature comforts and go from A to B with no noise, you're going to be on a solar powered boat. And I think you're proving it at the moment there, Steve.
Yeah, I just love the idea of taking this, showing our followers and our readers what is possible on a yacht with the right planning, and to show how efficiently we can cross the pond. That's the big thing for me, and we're delighted to share it, and keep following us. And we welcome anybody to come and visit us, our shipyard in Fano in Italy, to contact us through the website. We're very happy to show our facilities and to spend time with you, even if you don't want to buy a yacht. We're proud of what we do, and we're happy to show our products to you.
Brilliant. Well, folks, again, thank you for your time and your attention and your comments. Personal thank you to Captain Steve for taking the time for such a small show, and for, just a couple of guys who are talking things that really count to us. But it's been amazing to have you here and inspiring, and we appreciate you very much. Again, we hope you do follow along moving forward. Until then, happy sails, but I can't be the one who does it because this is Solar Sailing. Patrick Mackay always brings us out.
Thanks for watching.